Have you ever dreamed of leaving behind the noise of the city, the crowded streets, the endless traffic lights, and simply driving toward the horizon with your home following you? That's a thought that lives quietly in the minds of millions. Psychologists say it's because deep inside, humans carry two opposite desires: the urge for stability and the craving for freedom. We want a roof over our heads, but we also want to escape. That's why caravans, RVs, and motorhomes have such an emotional pull. They aren't just vehicles, they're moving answers to that hidden conflict inside us. Now, when the word reliability is mentioned, one brand stands out in every conversation: Toyota. Over decades, Toyota has built a reputation not just for cars, but for trust. It is the brand that rarely breaks down on a lonely highway. It is the machine that families rely on when they set off for long road trips. It's the badge that speaks of endurance, stability, and calm. And now, Toyota has taken that trust and poured it into something bigger: the 2026 Toyota Motorhome. But here's the question we'll explore: can this truly be the best caravan? Before we answer, let's think about the moment we step into a motorhome. For most people, it's not about horsepower or torque, it's about feeling. Imagine sliding open the door, stepping inside, and knowing this space will be your living room, your kitchen, and your bedroom for miles to come. Human psychology proves something powerful: our environment shapes our emotions. A well-designed space can lower stress, boost happiness, and create a sense of safety. And this is where Toyota enters the scene with bold confidence, because their engineering is never just about machines, it's about human experience. But let's pause for a second. Why now? Why are motorhomes suddenly back in the spotlight? Since the global shift of recent years, people have begun valuing freedom more than ever. Remote work is rising. Families want vacations with flexibility, not bookings. And younger travelers are drawn to the idea of owning experiences rather than possessions. This is why the caravan market is surging worldwide. It's not just about camping anymore. It's about reclaiming control of one's life. And Toyota, understanding human behavior as much as mechanical design, has stepped in with a motorhome that promises both freedom and comfort. Here's where the psychological hook gets deeper. When people buy cars, they often make the decision emotionally and justify it logically. They say it's about fuel economy, safety ratings, or technology, but in reality, it's about how the car makes them feel. The same applies to motorhomes. When someone considers the 2026 Toyota Motorhome, they're not just asking, will this get me there? They're asking, will this make me feel at home on the road? Will this calm my anxiety about traveling long distances? Will this make me proud when I park it by a lake at sunset? Those questions live in the heart, not the brain. And Toyota knows this game. Their history of building reliable, family-friendly vehicles proves it. Take the Land Cruiser, for example. It has long been trusted by adventurers in the harshest conditions: deserts, mountains, endless trails. Why? Because people don't just buy a Land Cruiser for specs. They buy it for peace of mind. They buy it for the confidence that wherever they go, the vehicle will not abandon them. That same DNA is being whispered into the 2026 Motorhome. It is not merely a machine, it's a promise of peace. Now let's sharpen the focus. Imagine you're standing in front of this new Toyota Motorhome. The design itself tells you something before you even touch the door handle. Bold yet familiar lines say, this is strength, but this is also comfort. And in that moment, your brain begins to release dopamine. Why? Because our minds are wired to respond to symbols of security and familiarity. A Toyota badge doesn't just tell you about the brand. It signals reliability, a psychological trigger that reassures you before the engine even starts. And that's the reason why this discussion matters. Because the best caravan isn't simply the one with the longest bed or the biggest fridge. It's the one that gives you peace, comfort, and a sense of adventure without fear. The 2026 Toyota Motorhome is aiming to be exactly that. But to see whether it truly earns the title, we must look at the design, the engineering, and the way it touches human emotions in every mile. So, stay with me until the end of this video, because as we dive deeper, you'll discover details about this motorhome that will change the way you think about caravans forever. And here's the reward. By the time we finish, you won't just know whether this is the best caravan. You'll know if it's the caravan that matches the lifestyle you've secretly been dreaming about. That's the journey we're about to take together. And just like the open road, it promises more than information. It promises freedom. When people talk about motorhomes, they usually imagine a compromise. Either you get comfort but sacrifice drivability, or you get mobility but live with cramped spaces. That's the eternal trade-off. But Toyota, with the 2026 Motorhome, has stepped into that exact conflict and asked, what if we didn't compromise? What if design and engineering could work together to satisfy both sides of human psychology, the desire for freedom and the craving for comfort? Let's start with the structure. The first thing you notice about the 2026 Toyota Motorhome is its balance. It isn't oversized, and it doesn't feel intimidating to drive. That's deliberate. Human brains associate massive vehicles with stress. Studies in cognitive psychology show that larger vehicles increase perceived difficulty of control, raising anxiety before a trip even begins. Toyota designed this motorhome to avoid that trap. It's built on a platform that feels manageable, even for drivers who have never handled a Caravan before. The exterior dimensions are carefully calculated, big enough to house a family, small enough to maneuver confidently. But size alone doesn't define a good Caravan. The engineering under the skin matters just as much. Toyota is famous for its engines that run flawlessly for decades, and this motorhome inherits that DNA. Efficiency is at the center. Travelers want to go far without worrying about fuel drains, and Toyota's hybrid technology plays a key role here. With smart energy management, it stretches distance while keeping emissions low. Why does this matter psychologically? Because nothing kills the romance of adventure faster than financial stress. If a Caravan gulps fuel, every mile becomes a calculation. Toyota's engineering removes that weight from your mind, letting you focus on the journey, not the fuel gauge. Safety is another pillar, and again, psychology explains why it matters so deeply. Humans are wired to seek predictability. The brain finds peace when risk is reduced. That's why Toyota invests so heavily in safety systems. The 2026 motorhome comes with advanced driver assistance features, adaptive cruise control, lane keeping, and blind spot monitoring. These aren't just tech gadgets. They're silent guardians, reducing the mental load of driving long hours. When your brain feels supported, your body relaxes, and the entire trip becomes more enjoyable. This is Toyota engineering, not just for performance, but for peace of mind. Step inside, and the philosophy of design becomes even clearer. Most Caravans struggle to balance space and practicality, but Toyota has studied human behavior in small environments. Every corner has purpose. The floor plan is intuitive, reducing decision fatigue. That's important because psychologists say clutter and confusion increase stress hormones like cortisol. In contrast, well-organized spaces lower mental strain and create a sense of calm. The 2026 motorhome uses this principle. Storage is hidden yet accessible, surfaces are clean yet functional, and movement from one zone to another feels natural. It's not just a cabin, it's a carefully engineered emotional environment. The seating, for instance, isn't just about cushioning. Toyota uses ergonomic research to craft chairs that reduce pressure points, keeping the body aligned during long rides. Why does this matter? Because physical comfort is tied directly to mental comfort. A tired back leads to irritability, which kills the joy of a road trip. By designing seating that feels supportive hour after hour, Toyota preserves not only the body, but also the mood of the traveler. Lighting is another subtle but powerful factor. The human brain responds to light patterns more strongly than most people realize. Harsh lighting creates alertness, but soft, warm tones signal relaxation. The Toyota Motorhome incorporates adaptive lighting that shifts from bright utility during cooking to soft ambiance when it's time to rest. This kind of design doesn't just illuminate space, it guides emotion. It helps transform the vehicle from a machine into a moving home. Even the materials chosen inside play into psychology. Toyota avoids sterile surfaces and instead leans into textures that remind people of comfort. Wood tones, soft fabrics, and subtle curves. Research shows that natural textures lower anxiety and increase feelings of safety, while metallic, cold surfaces can feel impersonal. That's why this motorhome avoids the mistake of looking like a factory on wheels. Instead, it looks and feels like a sanctuary, designed for humans, not just for function. Let's not forget the driving experience. Toyota engineers have tuned the suspension and handling to strike a middle ground between firmness and softness. A motorhome that sways too much on highways creates driver fatigue. One that feels too stiff makes passengers restless. The balance here ensures stability, reducing the subconscious tension that builds in the brain when motion feels unpredictable. Add to this Toyota's proven noise insulation, and you get another layer of psychological comfort: silence. Or at least, the controlled quiet that allows conversation, music, or the simple joy of listening to the road without distraction. All these details, The platform, the engine, the safety systems, the interior layout, the ergonomics, they're not random. They're part of Toyota's understanding that vehicles are extensions of human psychology. The 2026 Motorhome isn't engineered only to move from point A to point B. It's engineered to move emotions, reduce anxieties, and create a stable sense of control while still offering the thrill of adventure. Think of it like this. Every journey carries unknowns, weather changes, road conditions, long distances. The role of engineering here is to silence those unknowns. Toyota's reliability becomes a psychological anchor, turning uncertainty into confidence. And that confidence is exactly what transforms a simple road trip into a lasting memory. That's why the design and engineering of this motorhome stand out. It's not about the most horsepower, the most luxurious kitchen, or the biggest screen. It's about the invisible comfort that comes when a vehicle feels like an extension of your mind. Toyota, through decades of trust, has learned that lesson better than most. And in 2026, they've woven it deeply into their motorhome. When you think about why people truly fall in love with a vehicle, it's rarely about numbers on a brochure. Yes, horsepower and dimensions matter, but the real attachment begins when the machine touches human emotions. That's the invisible line between a tool and a companion. The 2026 Toyota Motorhome crosses that line with features designed not just to impress, but to connect with deeper human desires for safety, belonging, and freedom. Step inside, and the first impression is not of machinery, but of home. The layout welcomes you with an atmosphere that feels instantly familiar. A Caravan is more than steel and wheels. It's where mornings start, where meals are shared, and where memories form. Psychology tells us that spaces associated with daily rituals like eating or resting carry a unique emotional weight. Toyota has carefully built its motorhome around these rituals, making sure every corner reinforces the feeling of stability while on the move. Take the sleeping quarters, for example. Many Caravans treat the bed as an afterthought, squeezed into leftover space, but Toyota places strong emphasis on rest. The mattress is designed with ergonomic research in mind, giving full body support that mirrors what you'd expect from a proper bedroom. This is not just luxury, it's psychology. Quality sleep regulates mood, sharpens memory, and strengthens emotional balance. When you wake refreshed inside a Toyota Motorhome, the journey ahead feels lighter, the road less tiring, and the adventure more rewarding. Storage, too, is not about capacity alone. It's about how storage shapes the mind. Clutter creates anxiety. Psychologists have proven that disorganized spaces elevate stress hormones. That's why Toyota's design incorporates smart storage solutions, hidden compartments, modular shelves, and intuitive placement that minimizes visual chaos. Everything has a place, which means your brain doesn't have to constantly process disorder. Instead, you feel calm, knowing your environment is under control. Then there's the kitchen area. Cooking on the road isn't just about nutrition, it's about comfort and identity. Preparing a meal gives people a sense of home, even thousands of miles away. Toyota equips its motorhome with a compact but efficient kitchen space, including a well-sized cooking surface, smart ventilation, and storage for essentials. More importantly, it's arranged to feel easy, not forced. Human psychology tells us that ease of use translates to satisfaction. When cooking feels natural, the act itself becomes part of the joy of travel, not a chore to avoid. Technology plays its role as well. The modern traveler craves connection even when chasing freedom. The 2026 Motorhome integrates connectivity systems that allow you to stay linked without feeling trapped by screens. Smart infotainment keeps navigation smooth, while onboard Wi-Fi ensures you can work remotely or share memories instantly. This balance is crucial. Freedom doesn't mean cutting ties, it means having control over when and how you connect. Toyota understands that today's road trip isn't about isolation, it's about choice. Lighting deserves special mention again because here it shifts from engineering into emotion. Toyota's use of layered lighting transforms the motorhome into different moods. In the evening, soft amber tones mimic a sunset, guiding the body naturally into relaxation. During the day, brighter settings keep the interior lively and active. This connection between light and mood is supported by neuroscience. Light directly influences circadian rhythms, which affect energy and happiness. In other words, the Toyota Motorhome doesn't just light up a room, it shapes how you feel inside it. Another overlooked feature in many Caravans is sound. Noise pollution inside a vehicle drains mental energy faster than people realize. Toyota applies its well-known sound insulation techniques here, creating a quieter interior even at highway speeds. This isn't just about silence, it's about control. When you can choose what you hear, music, conversation, or simply the rhythm of the road, you feel more at ease. And ease, over long journeys, is what keeps spirits high and arguments low. The driving experience itself becomes a feature of emotion. Toyota's engines are tuned for smooth acceleration, reducing jerks and jolts that cause subconscious tension. The steering is responsive without being heavy, giving drivers a sense of control without exhaustion. Human psychology proves that predictability reduces stress. When a driver feels the vehicle respond as expected, the mind relaxes. This trust between driver and machine is subtle, but it builds over every mile, turning the act of driving from a task into a pleasure. Even the climate control system speaks to psychology. Comfort is not about extreme heating or cooling, it's about consistency. Rapid temperature swings make the body restless. Toyota's climate system adjusts gradually, maintaining a steady environment that allows both body and mind to relax. For families, this is especially powerful. Children sleep easier, adults argue less, and everyone feels more in harmony when the air feels just right. These features, when seen individually, might look like ordinary conveniences. But together, they form a carefully engineered emotional experience. A place to rest deeply, a space to cook and share, storage that eliminates stress, lighting that guides moods, connectivity that gives freedom without pressure, sound that preserves calm, driving that builds trust, climate that balances the body. This is not a list of features. It's a symphony designed to resonate with the psychology of travelers. That's why people fall in love with this motorhome. Because it doesn't just meet needs. It meets desires that most buyers can't even put into words. The desire for a safe space while exploring unknown places. The desire to feel at home while being away. The desire to enjoy freedom without losing comfort. Toyota, through the 2026 motorhome, speaks directly to these unspoken wishes. And that's what makes the connection so powerful. At the end of the day, a vehicle that only takes you places is replaceable. But a vehicle that makes you feel understood, that's the one you remember, cherish, and trust. And that's the role these features play, not just to impress, but to create bonds strong enough that when you think of adventure, you think of Toyota. Every journey eventually circles back to a single question: is this vehicle truly worth it? After exploring the design, engineering, and features that touch emotions, the 2026 Toyota Motorhome stands before us as more than just another Caravan. It represents a shift in how we see travel, how we measure comfort, and how we define freedom. For car lovers, that question carries extra weight, because the answer is not just about utility, it is about identity, trust, and the relationship we form with machines that carry us through life. To judge whether this is the best Caravan, we first return to the foundation of Toyota's reputation: reliability. For decades, Toyota has been synonymous with vehicles that last longer than expected, often becoming part of family stories passed down from one generation to another. This psychological bond, trust and durability, cannot be underestimated. A motorhome is not a toy, it is an investment of time, money, and memories. Knowing that the badge on the front belongs to Toyota instantly lowers doubt and raises confidence. When travelers feel secure in their vehicle, they dare to go further. That sense of trust is why many will see this motorhome as the best choice, regardless of how many luxury competitors enter the market. But reliability alone does not answer the question. The best Caravan must also balance comfort with freedom. This is where the Toyota Motorhome shines. The experience of stepping inside and feeling immediately at ease creates something powerful in psychology: emotional anchoring. People associate spaces with feelings. When a Caravan feels like home, it anchors the traveler to positive emotions that make every journey memorable. This is not about the size of the fridge or the number of USB ports. It is about how the environment shapes the mood of its passengers. And by designing a motorhome that keeps stress low and comfort high, Toyota provides what psychologists call emotional safety. That is a rare quality in vehicles, and it is central to what makes this Caravan so appealing. Another dimension is the driving experience. Car lovers know the road is not just background, it is the stage. A motorhome that feels heavy, noisy, or unpredictable quickly turns excitement into fatigue. Toyota avoids this trap by bringing its engineering discipline to suspension, handling, and noise control. The result is a caravan that feels less like a burden and more like a companion. That matters because psychology shows us that predictability reduces mental strain. When drivers know their vehicle will respond as expected, their minds stay calm, their energy lasts longer, and their connection to the machine deepens. That sense of effortless control is part of what makes this motorhome stand apart. Yet perhaps the strongest reason why this Toyota may be the best caravan is found in its balance of dreams and reality. Many motorhomes promise luxury, but they often overshoot, becoming so large or so complex that they feel impractical. Others aim for affordability but leave travelers wishing for comfort. The Toyota Motorhome avoids both extremes. It does not try to be the most extravagant nor the cheapest. Instead, it strikes balance, the very quality psychologists say humans value most. When things feel balanced, the brain interprets them as stable and trustworthy. That stability is what allows people to relax and enjoy the freedom of travel without worrying about trade-offs. Now think about the cultural meaning of motorhomes. They symbolize freedom, independence, and the courage to create your own path. Owning one is more than a purchase, it is a lifestyle statement. For car enthusiasts who already see vehicles as reflections of personality, the Toyota Motorhome becomes a powerful extension of self. It communicates not only that you love driving, but also that you value exploration, comfort, and resilience. This is why psychology calls vehicles identity objects. They tell the world who we are without words. By crafting a motorhome that balances design, technology, and trust, Toyota gives owners the chance to express a modern identity, someone who values both security and adventure, both comfort and freedom.